As many of you know, there is a very real threat and problem of transphobia growing in not even just the country of the USA, but the world in general. In light of some recent events, I want to go over them a little bit and really focus on how, at the end of the day, transphobia doesn't really make sense. And unfortunately, for the people that are transphobic, like actually completely hateful, it doesn't matter. We'll get into that in a moment, though. Hey, everyone. My name's Christian Verstappen, and I have a lot to say about many things. I'm sure many of you are aware specifically of Brianna J, who was, as we have in this tweet here, stabbed to death in Warrington, UK. Allegations are circulating of years of transphobic bullying led up to this. Horrified. Rest up, sis. And then we look at some of the responses, where we have this person, valid people, taking L's. By the way, a lot of these taking L's, if you see there's this one called Women Taking L's, there's all of these things that have taking L's or posting their L's or stuff like that. They're normally outrage bait. It's just stuff that's there for the audience that already doesn't like whatever group of people that is, to just fuel the fire of their hatred. So they post a cigarette. You might be wondering why they're posting a cigarette. Well, a slang term for a cigarette in the UK, where she lived and was murdered, was, or is, a slang term for a cigarette in the United Kingdom, in England, is the F slur that is used for gay people in the English language. There's not really another way that I can say that. I'm not going to type it out. I'm not going to show you, but you know the word. If anyone ever doubted these people want us dead, now you should know it was never about protecting kids. It's about hate, pure and simple. 100% it is. We can go through some of the others here. There was a 14-year-old girl who was beaten and filmed. Then they post the beating on TikTok and she ended her own life. Funny, no response to that. I guess we pick and choose who to care for. What? Wait, is this the girl who was beaten on the bus? The black girl who was beaten by a bunch of white dudes? Are we talking about that? Was awful too. But that's not what we're talking about at the moment. If you guys want me to go over that, I will. But this nothing of value was lost, so, and again, cigarette, because turfism is truly a plague. Yeah. But I want to point out something. Look at this woman. Well, not woman. Look at this girl. She was 16. She wasn't a woman. Look at this girl. Be honest with yourself. If you saw this image and you didn't know, nobody told you she was trans, would you call her a guy? Would you think she's trans? No. You would refer to her as a girl because she looks and presents as a girl, because that's what she is. And that's just the start of the reality here that transphobia doesn't actually make sense. The essentializing that TERFs and other people do of this idea that the misunderstanding and conflation of sex and gender and thinking that they're the same thing just doesn't actually make sense, because we see all the time people that don't completely align with they don't look super masculine and they're a guy, or they don't look super feminine and they're a woman. We see all the time those kind of people, even cis ones. I knew a when I was in elementary school, I knew a cis girl who was in our 5th grade class. She had a major growth spurt, and she was like six like 6 foot or a little over by the time we hit high school, and she was super tall. She had, you could say, masculine features. Her face structure was, and all that was pretty masculine, but she was a girl. If she was trans, none of us knew it. I'm pretty sure she was cis. I don't know for a fact because no one ever does. And on that note, people can't tell. Look at this woman. Would you look at this person and think they're trans? You'd probably have a similar reaction and thought process to this guy.
So what's your name?
Emily.
Emily? Like Emily Watson?
Like Emily James.
Hey, how often do you cut your hair?
Never.
Never?
No, I do porn.
Oh.
Yeah.
What type of scenes do you do?
Transgender.
Wait, what?
Are you a trans?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
See, he's shocked because he thinks you're way too hot to be trans. Like, there's no way. You don't look like some ugly woman who's, or anything like that, because people can't actually tell.
Are you messing with me?
I'm for real. I have a whole penis.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
So, what's your name?
Oh, so here, I want to get her and her friend in the thing here. So, I mean, look at this. If we look at her voice, her mannerisms, you can say, okay, like, her voice isn't like super feminine or what have you, but no, it definitely is. I've seen, and I'm sure many of you have seen, women like this, who look like this, who talk like this, she's doing the hair flip, she's all like, very like cute and everything, the way she's talking. Yeah, and let's be real, her and her friend are both, they're definitely cuties. But this guy is, I don't know how well you can see, this guy is just flabbergasted. Well, he's not, I think flabbergasted means you're angry about it. He's just very taken aback because he can't tell. Now, this can go 2 ways. There are people that are afraid of the idea that they are going to hook up with or date or even marry a woman who used to be a guy, a trans woman. Here's the thing. People that are trans, like that woman, will tell you that they are trans. Why? For one, they know that if they don't, their own safety is at risk. For another, why would they want to have sex with a transphobic person? Now, I've talked about this before, but genital preferences are not transphobic. If you have a genital preference, I do myself. I like pussy. I don't like dick. My own is fine, but like past that, unless I'm like, I don't know, having a threesome or more with like, and another dude's involved, I don't really want to see, another dick. Now, what's an interesting idea is if I could like be with a trans woman and a cis woman at the same time. I don't know. But life's full of exploring things and all that stuff. There's a way to look at this, because a lot of people who are chasers will talk about this concept where they will say that basically they have this like mentality that women, trans women specifically, are just out to trick them. That they're just like Like there's just a ton of trans women that are just ready to trick a man into being gay, which it wouldn't be gay, especially like I mean, you're attracted to her feminine features and you're not tricked, you know. Now I mean like yes, if you're going to have a physical relationship with someone, to be honest about what you're getting into, no pun intended. But you know, that's true for even things like STDs and like all that stuff, right? So, you know, but I do think as well that if somebody is trans and has gone through full gender confirmation surgery where they don't even have the genitalia that they were assigned with at birth, I don't see an issue there. I had a friend of mine ask me about this and posed this question to me of like, if I couldn't tell the difference, you know, if I had the option to be with a trans woman who, like, unless she told me, I would have no idea. Like, you know, even down there, she like felt and everything was the same, right? Would I care? No. And that's one of the things that needs to be like looked at and like understood for a lot of people. It's like if you didn't know, so like a common joke, and I'm going to go over a video of this in the future too. I know I've said I'm going to do that before and I haven't yet, but I will. But a common joke in one of my favorite shows, How I Met Your Mother, a common joke is that Ted, the main character, is going to date and maybe even marry a woman who is trans. And the punchline, like one of the punchlines was he was about to, in an image he had, a dream or whatever, he was about to marry Robin. And she says, I used to be a dude at the altar. And it's like, you would have known by now. Like, she would have had that conversation with you. But if you didn't know, she wouldn't have needed to tell you. Because, like, why would you need to know unless it's going to affect, like, I don't think that trans people need to like out themselves, but I do understand that, especially if they don't have the if they haven't gone through gender confirmation surgery, they're going to be like, they're gonna tell you. You know, no one is. I mean, okay, I'm sure there are some out there, but for the most part, there's not like an epidemic, for example, of trans women just seducing men and tricking them, where like they go to hook up and, oh, she's got a penis. Like that's not how it works. But the way it does work is that there are beautiful trans women who just look like women because, funnily enough, they are. And you can say, oh, well, she's got broad shoulders and blah. You can say that. But there are women, cis women, who have broad shoulders as well. Everything that you can think of, with the exception of chromosomes, and we don't even really know, like, you haven't examined your own chromosomes. We'll get to this in a minute. But everything that you can say, oh, well, like, that doesn't happen for cis women, is something that it does. So I wanted to talk about this as well. Male prisoner smuggled in phone for trans prisoner and she used Twitter. I don't really care about the contents of the article. What I care about is the woman. Because, is she a woman? I almost think she might be underage. I'm really not sure. I hope if she's dressing like that, she isn't. But in any case, you look at this person and you wouldn't think, oh, that's a trans woman, because they look like a woman. Now we can get into things like passing privilege and pretty privilege, and those are all aspects of it too. But generally speaking, people who identify as a gender do their best to embody that gender. That doesn't mean you have to go, you know, completely in the direction like these people do. Because again, well, as we'll get to with the end of all this here, gender is a spectrum. And I really like this graph because, and please understand, I am a cis hetero man going through this and examining this. So if what I say here doesn't match how you guys might understand and explain this yourself, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to, learn and or correct anything, but this is the way that I understand this and I think is a good way to see the concept of gender. So we have female on one side and male on the other side. Most people, I would argue, most cis people like myself, fit somewhere on here. On the blue line for male, like I would place myself somewhere around here. And most women, cis women, fit somewhere around here. But the closer you are to this line, the more masculine, the more manly, whatever you're probably going to be. Possibly the more testosterone you have and stuff too, but, And the closer you are to the end of this line for female, same concept. Now, it is a little bit not great that they have this as male and female and not man and woman. Male and female are sexes, man and woman are genders, so on and so forth, right? However, the idea still works, and I think the image in general works very well for this, for laying this out. So, what we have here, I really want to move this, but it doesn't. Okay. Is that better? Sort of? Not really. No, never mind. We're going to leave it like this. Okay. So, there are the people that are here, right? Anyone that's here is going to be more, womanly, as it were, and people that are here are going to be more manly, as it were. But there's also these ends of the spectrum here. I would say here is probably where generally you're going to get your more tomboys, and we're talking specifically cis people right now. This is where you're going to get your tomboys and your stuff like that, right? And then we get close to here, and this is where you're probably going to start getting more effeminate men, things like that, maybe even femboys, all that stuff. But here and anywhere in between is where we're going to have trans people, non-binary people, people that are different, just non-gender conforming in general. All of that is going to be more in the middle here. They're going to intersect. And of course, we're going to have men who were assigned female at birth, who are going to cross over into the man spectrum. And you are going to have women who are assigned male at birth cross over into the woman spectrum here. And generally speaking, that is the way that I understand this. But you notice nobody is actually anywhere, nobody is just, there are people that are all the way over here, and there are people that are all the way over here. But the majority of people are going to be here. I think I like that they had these clothings here too. We have the dress here. We have a t-shirt and jeans, because this this isn't a dress. This is a shirt and skirt. But whatever the case, here I think this is kind of indicating that this is generally where the clothing, if you want to dress more feminine, and then if you want to dress more masculine, that's kind of where that would be on that line. That kind of stuff, right? So I think that's just a very useful tool for understanding the concept of the gender spectrum. So let's get into some things here as to why transphobia is harmful and the laws being placed don't make sense either. Just yesterday, the state Senate just passed a law that will require my teenage son to be forced under penalty of law onto estrogen, and I haven't seen a single conservative concerned for our plight. So, what she is saying, what Fort Wayne crime Aaron here is saying, is she has a trans son who is in the middle of transitioning. What she is talking about here is that there are bills being put into place to make it so that her son, and I would say other people that are already transitioning, are going to have to detransition, which can be a very traumatic and distressing process for people that have to detransition. Look, people that transition of their own volition, like, that is perfectly fine. That's fine. Sometimes people regret going one way and they go another way, whatever the case. But forcing people to detransition is absolutely insane. And this is where we're at. We're at bills being placed to force detransition, and we're at things like this.
And these people are sick, and I don't say that lightly. The NCAA is a perverted organization. They platformed a biological male who won a national championship and then was allowed in incredibly disturbing detail to be around you and your fellow competitors. And again, I blame the decline of American men. This never should have been, someone should have just took care of it the way we used to take care of things in the 1950s or 60s. But, as you have testosterone rates go down and men start acting like women and they don't do anything, then, hey, who's to say? You're going to, look, there are a lot of sick people in the world, unfortunately, and without the strength to go against them, the country is going to completely, and these people are sick. And
I had I hadn't actually seen this clip at all. I see what Vosh was talking about here, where he said this is unambiguously a call to lynch trans women. Yeah, let's go back to that.
The way we used to take care of things, and then I took care of it the way someone should have just took care of it the way we used to take care of things in the 1950s or 60s. But as
yeah, he's talking about like when black people used to be lynched. Jesus fucking Christ. Openly saying this on the Charlie Kirk show, which I think is like a channel on YouTube and stuff, isn't it? Yeah, he's got like a YouTube channel and I believe. Let's see if we can like hover over any of his. Yeah, it's a videos and stuff on YouTube. Wow. I don't know if that, we'll get to that. I don't know if that, excuse me. I don't know if that video specifically is on YouTube, this clip. But Jesus Christ, him saying this and her nodding along, that is harrowing. See, this is why it's important to call out that transphobia doesn't make any sense. Because it's not enough to just say it's wrong, right? Yeah, it's wrong. It's morally wrong. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just like any other bigotry. Racism, homophobia, sexism, none of it makes any sense. All of it is essentializing characteristics to a group of people based on certain actors or people within a community that are made to represent everybody. And the right loves doing this with outrage bait like this.
9-year-old Kieran Clausen collects crystals. She dabbles in face paint, and she loves sports.
What do you play?
I did play volleyball, soccer, and...
Now I want you to pay attention to her and her mom in the interview. Also, again, clearly a little girl. No ambiguity there. You're not gonna, like, if you saw this person with, like, if this person was, like, throwing a tantrum in, like, Walmart or some shit, and you would tell the mom, like, hey, control your girl. Control your little girl. You wouldn't say, control your little boy. You might say, hey, control your little kid. But, like, you get what I mean.
I want to play basketball.
To Kieran, who's transgender, it's not about racking up victories.
I don't want to win any trophies for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
What's it about?
Having fun with your friends for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
Yeah, so this is the part right here. This guy, Greg, the mother has fed her transgender child what to say and is actually mouthing the words along with them. No, they fucking aren't, because look at this clip again. All right, look at her and look at the mom.
For it,
No, no,
I feel like the
not that.
because it's not about winning.
What's it about?
It's not about winning.
Here.
The most unfair way for it, though. I feel like that's the most
Also, wait a minute. Let's get back to... Hang on a minute.
need trophies for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
What's it about?
Okay, I have to say that's actually really sweet that she would say basically she doesn't want to compete as somebody who has, and she hasn't yet, of course, but as somebody who has gone through a male puberty, she doesn't want to compete against women because she doesn't think that'd be fair. And it's not about winning. It's just about like having fun and playing basketball. She wants to play. That's actually really sweet. I like that. That's really cool. But all right, again, sorry, I'm just one more time. Look at her, and again, look at the mom.
For it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
Fed him what to say. She's not even looking at her. Now, I think what they're getting at here is that she previously told her what to say. But this is a child going on national television to talk on the news. Are you really going to tell me if you had your kid for anything go on national news, you wouldn't be coaching them on some level how to speak to the camera and speak to people so that you got what you were trying to, like they were able to say what they were trying to say? Like this isn't an own. Yeah. If this doesn't get you mad as hell, what will? Yeah, okay. All right, Greg. Wait a minute. Is Greg... Wait, I see the gay flag in his... Is he one of those... Oh, God. Is he one of those, like, gays against groomers or... What are they called? What are those... It's like LGB without the T or some shit. What are those hate groups called? Why isn't it child herst... Okay, this... The herstory thing... Why isn't it called herstory? The herstory thing is just dumb. We're not talking about that right now. I just want to... Is he... We're not going to go through all his... Okay, whatever. It's funny, by the way, the people that are, like, gay and are super like, oh, we're anti-trans. Cool. The right's coming for you next.
Fun with your friends for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
But she's also not mouthing the words. There's like a few things, like she might be saying winning. I don't know. It's
Karen seems undeterred.
I don't buy that this is her like feeding her child what to say. And what did the people say in response to the... All right, asshole. If you didn't get goosebumps watching that weevil woman's lips move, a 9-year-old boy is wearing makeup and you're like, no, it's a 9-year-old girl. Oh, God, we really need that dislike button. Come on, Twitter. Musk will never make a dislike button, though. This might have been... Yeah, that the girl, wanted to rehearse what she wanted to say with her mother. Not everything is a conspiracy. This will be another bait dog for the anti-LGBT lot. Yeah, 100%. The haircut and the glass. Okay. It's child abuse, yada yada. No, but this person got it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. They rehearsed what to say beforehand because she doesn't want to look like an idiot. But doesn't stop there.
Yeah!
So this is 100% just outrage bait, right? Obviously. I wonder if this can actually get copyrighted for that music. I don't know. No, it's like in the background. Now let me be clear. I think this is weird. Hot take, possibly, but yeah, I think having a show like this for a bunch of kids is fucking weird. And I also think that progressive people need to call that out so that we don't have, well, people using, like, libs of TikTok using shit like this to push a narrative. Because it's all about pushing a narrative. It's all about pushing this idea that this is what all trans people are. Because they want it to lead to the hate that causes things like this. The murder of a 16-year-old girl. And actually call for lynching and genocide and all these wonderful things. And yeah, this is weird. So is this. What the fuck is this? This is okay? Or taking your kid to Hooters or some shit like that's okay? No. I think all of it is equally fucked up. I'm sorry, like, I consider myself a very, like, sex-positive person and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you expose children to these kind of things. I don't think children should be exposed to, Hooters and stuff like that either. I don't, yeah. And I think that we on the left need to do a better job at actually calling the shit out. What was this one? Oh, this is the thing we just looked at. Because, the funny thing about, they're not, but the funny thing is, these two could be trans, and you'd never know it unless they told you. Because again, people can't tell. And as Amelia here even said, it's like people are surprised when we both A, don't pretend we're not trans, and B, don't look like a caricature. Yeah. They don't. They look like people. Trans people. What really, like... Because, I've talked about this before. I used to be transphobic. But one of the things that really got me to, like, understand... Yeah, of course. Of course a trans person is... It was a dude. And I can't remember who it was. And I don't know how to search for him on YouTube. But he was... A video came up in my recommended on YouTube where he was talking about, like, bottom surgery or something. It was like getting it was like getting an artificial penis or something it was called, and he was talking about it and all these different things, right? And he was a dude. He had facial hair, he looked like a dude, he talked like a dude. That was the first thing that I saw where I was like, oh yeah, like, it really doesn't make sense. And I knew a trans person as well. They passed well enough, but yeah, and again, we can talk about, like, passing privilege and all that stuff, but most people are going to try to pass because generally part of the identity of the gender is wanting to perform as that gender as well, at least to an extent. And cis people do this all the time. What is the big masculinity thing we have where a bunch of men are, like, overcompensating with trying to be manly? By the way, that's a really good way to understand toxic masculinity. Overcompensation of manliness. But yeah, it doesn't, I mean, look at this. Like, I'm sorry, you see these two people, those are just two hot women. like, yeah. And again, and like this, that's a girl, clearly. Like, you're not going to look at that and tell me, oh yeah, that's a dude. Really? Are you blind? Like, all of this. And clearly the reason it's important to push back things like this is because we have bills being drafted and actual hate speech and calling of lynching of trans people being put out. But this is why I think it's important that we call out things like this, because yeah, this is weird, this is fucked up. I don't think this is appropriate for kids. I don't think this is appropriate for kids either. So, it doesn't make sense, and people that whine and cry about it aren't actually being honest with themselves. They're willfully, they're willfully looking past the other things that are weird, but it's okay because it's cis people. That's the way they look at it. Even you know what? Here, let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. We'll just add it as another thing. All right.
You'll see when it's done.
So this is from July 28th of last year. But even Andrew Tate
I'm rebuilding my mansion.
talked about this concept, that gender is a spectrum. He wraps it up in a shit ton of misogyny, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, just have a listen. So even Andrew Tate talked about this concept in a very, well, we'll get to it.
Ignore the construction. I'm rebuilding my mansion. You'll see when it's done. We'll do an episode of Cribs. I had to get this area here. I bought my neighbor's house. I had to construct a specific area for the Bugatti. Anyway.
Hey, he actually said Bugatti, not Bugatti. It's almost like the accent's fake.
That's all gonna be lit up and shit. Bugatti logos. You broke boys don't know. Listen, I recently posted a question on Twitter asking, would you rather have sex with a transsexual, which is a legitimate 10, or a woman, which is a legitimate 1? And everyone said...
And of course, what he means by this is a transgender woman who has not undergone bottom surgery, or a cis woman who ain't really that good looking. Oh, and of course the trans woman is just hot as fuck. That's his important point here.
Sitting there clicking woman, 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 because they think they're going to be gay if they do anything else, but they're not actually thinking about the question. I am so smart. I operate on so many levels higher than the average man. You people are not thinking about the question. When I say a 1 and a 10, I mean Megan Fox with a dick. That's the tranny. Or Hulk Hogan with a pussy. That's the girl. This is the question I'm asking. Megan Fox or Hulk Hogan? So you're thinking, well, I don't want to be gay, so I just clicked the girl, the number 1, did it? You're gonna fuck Hulk Hogan? Okay, yeah, there's a pussy, but he's got mustache and muscles and shit. He's all hairy, big dude, 6'5". It's pretty gay.
He's understanding. Again, I mean, yeah, the way he goes about it, pretty gross, but he's cooking.
To me, that sounds pretty gay. I don't care if it's a pussy. That is gay. Whereas Megan Fox, okay, he's got a dick, but maybe you can like...
Okay, he said he would be Megan Fox. Okay, she's got a dick, but look at him talking about this.
Shoot it out the way. I'm still Megan Fox. You know what I'm saying? At least she's small and shit. You can get your hand around her neck, mess her up. You ain't messing up Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's gonna mess you up. So this is the question.
That is true.
I'm asking. You need to operate on a higher plane. Think about this. This is important. This is cultural. This affects the world we now live in. What is straight? What is gay? It's all a big sliding spectrum, isn't it? Because if you're going to sit here and go, oh, no, it's gay to bang Megan Fox with a dick, I counter that argument. It's gay to bang Hulk Hogan with a pussy. So which one is it?
Oh, agreed. There's another really great one that I'd love to find here. Let me just see if I can find. Yeah. Republicans want this man in the women's restroom and this woman in the men's restroom. True. They're both trans. Could you fucking tell? No, you couldn't. Because people can't. Because even as Andrew Tate can point out and realize, it's all a spectrum. So at the end of the day, transphobia doesn't even make any sense. As always, these are just my thoughts. Please let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more, links in the description. Leave a like if you like, and if not, I hope you find something to do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.